Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory. In today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down my 3 biggest lessons that I took away from Alex Hormozi's book launch that just happened this last weekend. Now, I don't know when you're watching this episode, but stick around to the end because I've got a special bonus that I'm going to share with you. Cool, so let's hop into this. This last weekend, Alex Hormozi did his $100 million money model, that's a mouthful, book launch, and man, this guy's like a bona fide streamer now, it seems like. He was on for, I think, 10 hours, a little over 10 hours the first day, came back, did an encore stream the day after, and then also went live to do Q&A on Monday before the offer finally expired. So in this video, I'll be breaking down my 3 biggest takeaways and how I think you could use these in the business. So let's hop into this. Who is Alex Hormozi? If you don't know who this guy is, he's been on the internet for a really long time. I actually met Alex in 2016 back at the ClickFunnels conference. This was like one of their very first conferences that they had. And I saw Alex, he spoke on stage talking about his gym business and how he was creating funnels online and using ClickFunnels to grow his business. And if you watch the book launch event, he talked about like upsells and downsells, and that's the $100 million money model, is basically how to attract clients or prospects or leads and get them to spend more while also simultaneously having a downsell opportunity if they don't want to spend more, and then get recurring revenue out the backside. When I saw Alex in San Diego in 2016, he was in the hallway talking to Alex Charfen. Now, if I would have known how everything was going to play out, I probably would have been a little more forthcoming and try to create a better relationship with him. This is why I can't stress it enough that you've got to go to events if you're a new entrepreneur. Now, listen, if you're like set, you know what you're doing, you're building your thing and like your head down, because I truly believe there is a time to build, but there's also time to learn and network and grow. And so it was pretty interesting to me that Hormozi and Charfen, both Alexes, were standing in the hallway. And so like we were standing there on break and they're chatting it up, and I kind of standing there with them being a fly on the wall. And I hear Hormozi tell Alex Charfen, he said, I think at the time he had 6 or 8 gyms maybe. And he said, I've got these 8 gyms and like, we've really got this thing figured out. Like we're printing money and I'm going to like go build all these other gyms all over the place. And if you guys don't know Alex Charfen, I love the guy to death. He has a very unique voice. It's kind of naysy 80s, kind of talks like this a little bit. He's got a very unique voice. And I hear it plain as day, man, even though it's been 10 years. And he looks at Alex Hormozi and he goes, "That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard." And it was just like this, like, whoa. And he said, "You've got the blueprint. Why build all of the gyms when there's already failing gyms everywhere and you could just go teach them the system and do like a licensing deal?" And so if you're not familiar, I learned what licensing was from Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank. And it's where you basically get a royalty or a check in the mail on an ongoing basis based on a performance metric, right? So like for Alex, like he would license his system to these gyms and then they would pay him either upfront money or a recurring fee to be able to use the systems and processes that him and Layla had figured out to make so much money in their gyms, right? So, hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll, and I want to interrupt this podcast real quick to make sure you guys are getting your copy of the Hunter Head Game. You can go to thehunterheadgame.com and register for your copy. Everyone that registers will get a free copy of the audio book. It doesn't cost me anything to get that out to you, so it's one of the easiest ways for me to give back to the entrepreneur community. This book is really focused on the last 10 years of my life and all the lessons that I've learned along the way being an entrepreneur. I truly believe that the old world rewarded obedience, and we're in a new world that demands killer instincts. As we continue to see layoffs and we continue to see economic changes happen, the creator economy, the gig economy, I think this book will open your eyes and give you some much needed skills and a refresher. Even if you're an apex hunter already, I think there's some stuff in here that you could take away to sharpen your blade. So go to thehunterheadgame.com and pre-register for your copy. Let's get back to the episode. Fast forward, right? Like I didn't go to, that was the only ClickFunnels conference I've ever been to. Made a lot of friends, made a lot of networking. Didn't make the right friends, which was pretty cool. But when to see Alex go and then do gym launch and then ultimately like the supplement brands, the big exit for, I think it was like $48 million to, I think it was like Pacific Group, something like that. The details are online. You can go watch Alex's videos. Highly recommend it. This guy has a very unique ability to break things down at like a third grade level so that you understand them. But his delivery of the message is so unique because it like makes you feel dumb even if you're not a dumb person. It's pretty cool. So if you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, now you know who he is. He now owns acquisition.com, and their portfolio of companies do over $200 million a year. And this past weekend, he had his third book kind of in his trilogy of nonfiction books. The first one was $100 million offers. The second one was $100 million leads. And now this one was $100 million money models. And I believe the live stream is still up. Maybe not at the time of you watching this, but I was just blown away. I expected to come onto the live stream at noon, and, by 1:30, like he would be through his pitch and done, right? Like we all knew there would be a pitch. Russell Brunson, that's how I do my pitches. That's who I learned from. There's a lot of guys. Myron Golden is another guy that I met in 2016. Great speaker, great salesman from stage. And so it was cool to kind of watch Hormozi do this whole thing, give it all away for free, and then his pivot. So this was my first takeaway, because a lot of times when you do public webinars or public events, the audience is very mixed, right? You're gonna have very, very successful people, and then you're gonna have people that aren't as successful. And so it's hard to get an offer that sticks. And so Hormozi did a very unique thing. He said, hey, for all of the solo guys out there, the new people, the wannabes, like, hopefully, did I give you enough value? Like this 90 minutes was worth your time, right? Everybody's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is awesome. He's like giving them 3 extra courses, like a school community, all kinds of cool stuff. Just for buying the book, being on the live stream. Then he says, cool, let me talk to framing, right? The businessmen, the businesswomen, the ballers, the entrepreneurs, the people that are making money. And I thought that was so unique that he reframed the audience that he was talking to, right? And so that was a very, very powerful takeaway, because then what came was this pivot where he said, if you'll help me with my mission, which is to get these books into the hands of every entrepreneur, which is like 32.5 million people, then I will give you some stuff, right? And he said, and so you do this by donating, not buying, not purchasing, by donating 200 books to entrepreneurs that you know and have around you. And so I was like, wow, this dude is like next level marketing and sales wizardry with his framing and how he does it. It's cool, man. It's almost like if you play golf and then like you just watch Tiger Woods play in his prime on Sundays, right? Where he hits those like 45-foot putts, and you're like, how? It's like, it's not even, it's crazy. And I got to give kudos because, man, the event, the production, the marketing hype, the lead up was absolutely amazing. Kudos to Alex and Layla and their whole team at acquisition.com. But that was my first big takeaway, was how he framed the audience, how he reframed the audience of like, hey, cool, we're 90 minutes in. All you broke motherfuckers, like I'm done talking to you. Hey, guys with money, let me talk to you real quick. And so it was done in a very, very tasteful, tactical way. And then to ask them to donate the books, I thought was like just a play that has probably never been done before in the history of book launches. And with my new book, The Hunter Head Game, coming out, I'm actually like super excited. We're more than likely going to be pushing the launch date back because there's so much that I learned. And Alex is noted for saying this, is that true power, like if you think about power, if you think about like an omnipotent being that like is like God or a genie, if you will, like if they think it, then it's done. Like, so I think it, so it is done. And so he's said this for years. And so I want to make sure I give him credit on this, because like the faster you can execute once new knowledge or information is presented, that is true power. And so for me, there was so much that I took out of this book launch that I'm like, man, this is how we need to launch this book. Now, do I think I'm going to sell 3.5 million copies, which Alex did? Absolutely not. I'm climbing my own mountain. However, I think there are some things that I learned from this. I'm like, hey, this could be a really cool way where, one, I could provide more value to the entrepreneurs in my ecosystem, but also get this book into the hands of other entrepreneurs and young people, which is the reason why I wrote the book. So that framing was very interesting. It also allowed him to sell hundreds and hundreds of books. And then in typical Alex Hormozi fashion, there was an upsell on the backside. So for those of you that are watching this that were like, hey man, I could only afford the $29.99 book, I think it's interesting to kind of show you guys what was deeper in that funnel. And so when you signed up for the $6,000 offer, you not only got 200 books, but you also got the ACQ like playbooks, if you will. I think it was like a dozen or 13 books that will come separate, which I thought was really, really cool. But then he also gave like the book launch files, which are like internal memos and processes and things. So I'm excited to dive into that with my team. But the reason why I bought, which I love this, and especially because it's in our space where we have Allie, which is our AI platform, he launched an ACQ AI that is fine-tuned and specifically tailored on the playbooks. And so I've already had some time to like hop in and play around with this thing, and it's pretty powerful. I mean, like it pulls up sheets in the book that's like, hey, here's the play. And I just got to give kudos to Alex for like putting out a really good product. It's very, very powerful. One of the things that like we noticed is like we didn't have an upsell on the backside of some of our offers, and so the AI was helping me with that. But like for me, like $6,000 is like, it's more than enough just for the AI, right? Which is the second takeaway. In $100 million offers, Alex talks about making your offer so compelling because of the bonuses that like they'll buy the thing because the free thing that comes with it is so amazing. So let me frame this for you. A real life example would be you're ready to buy a vehicle, right, for your 16-year-old daughter. And your daughter's like, hey, I want either a Ford or a Chevy or a Toyota. And as a dad, you're or a mom, you're looking, and Ford has a promo running that says, buy a Ford Focus, get a Ferrari for free, right? And it's like, well, I will buy the Ford Focus just to get the Ferrari. Like it's not even about the Ford Focus anymore. And that's what he teaches in $100 million offers. And it's just cool to see him execute on what he teaches at this webinar event that I attended this last weekend. So in there was implementation. He's doing some teachings that are over the next couple of weeks. And so there was a lot of value that came with it. And for me, the $6,000 price tag, I think, is all about an investment into myself and into my team. And so I said this yesterday. I had a speaking engagement with the local Chamber of Commerce. When the bank shows up, and the bank showed up on me twice now in my life, they can't take this away, okay? And so like the 6 inches in between your ears, the knowledge that you can build, right? As Ty Lopez, the knowledge is so important. And so don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I think it's one of the best investments that you can make in life. That and picking the right partner are probably like the two biggest hacks that I've found in business. But anyway, we'll get back to the training. So I go through the funnel, and after I spend $6,000, now let's zoom all the way back out. The very first step in Alex's funnel is an opt-in. And so there's an opt-in that you give your name, phone number, email address to sign up for the thing. And if you sign up for the free book launch, then you're going to get some free stuff with it, right? Like if you attend live, you get these like free things, these bonuses. On the very next page, there is a $29.99, like I can't remember, it's like, I think it was $30, $29.99. The offer for the book. And so the offer for the book is there, but there's also a $500 offer that's got some like additional stuff with it. Alex refers to this as pricing anchoring. And so the price anchor makes the $30 investment look like chump change compared to the $500 package that he has lined out on the page. And so I just bought my book on the way in, and in the webinar, he showed that he was positive on ad spend before the event even launched. So this dude sold enough books on people buying on the way into the event that he made his revenue back off of his ad spend. So they had spent I believe it was $4 million. I think he spent $6 million total in the whole event. About $4 million of it was just in paid ad spend across Google and Facebook and Instagram, which is, for me, it's like, that's insane for a book launch. It's probably never been done. And maybe not, I say that, but who knows what, HarperCollins or Penguin Random House could have paid Obama or Clinton or any of the other head figures of states for their promotion, their tours, their speaking engagements, right? And so it was interesting to me that Alex saw this opportunity that he said, hey, 9 out of the 10 top nonfiction books, the top selling nonfiction books, were written by heads of state. And he said, hey, I think an entrepreneur should hold that spot. One of us should do that. And so he went out and did it. And kudos to him, man. Give people their flowers when they deserve them. And so it was cool to watch the book launch event. And so as you're going through the funnel, you get that. They're like, cool, here's the event. Then he does the offer, $6,000. As soon as you pay, right, you're paying $59.99. You go to the very next page, and it's like, hey, here's an $18,000 offer. And it's basically to get access to Alex and his team over like the next 6 months, one-on-one coaching, training, et cetera, et cetera. And so I opted not to take that. We've got some deals in the pipeline right now that are going to include some coaching and consulting if they all work out. And so I opted just to stay with the $6,000 program. However, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that was kind of like on the backside for the ballers. And so effectively, 200 books. And then the other offer was just you had to buy an extra 800 books. So everything was framed around buying the books, and then you got all the other stuff for free. And to me, what's crazy about this is like this guy was able to sell 3.5 million copies of his books in less than 72 hours from the time the launch happened to the time the offer closed. And so my second takeaway from this whole thing is that you've got to raise your prices and not be afraid to ask for a big dollar amount. Too often we kind of pigeonhole ourselves into thinking that our value's not there, or that we want to compete on price as business owners, or that we've got to be competitive, right? This word of like competitive. And the way that you be competitive in Alex's eyes, I see, is like just have the best fucking product that's out there, and no one will be able to compete with you because you'll just be head and shoulders above them. And so that was very interesting to me that on a book launch, he had no problem asking people to spend $25,000, $24,000 on buying books. And it allowed him to be able to rack up the tally of books to a level that allowed him to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest selling nonfiction book, which was pretty crazy. So first takeaway was definitely the reframing and the pivot to a donation instead of a purchase. The second takeaway was, holy shit, we need to have bigger, higher dollar offers. And it's not about getting everybody to go to that $18,000 offer. However, if Alex didn't have that there, the people that did spend the money on that, because he did sell lots of those upsells, that opportunity, if you don't present that to the customer, then they can't say yes to it. And so that was very, very eye-opening to me. The third takeaway that I got was probably actually not from Alex. It was towards the end of their stream on the first day, and it was actually from Layla. And so they were there at the end. Alex had like drank a beer out of his boot, and the edit team, maybe you guys can go chop up some of the footage and show that from the launch. But he like took a drink out of his boot, and then like he was drinking a beer on set. They were all celebrating and stuff. And Layla said something that struck me, and maybe it's just because I've got my book coming out, but she said, this is the 4-minute mile. The 4-minute mile was just broken. And if you guys aren't familiar, like for years and years and years in track and field, no one thought that a human being could run a sub 4-minute mile, right? And like it was like impossible until a guy did it. And once that guy did it, lo and behold, another person did it, and then another person, and then another person. And so what I think has happened, and I truly believe, like in my heart of hearts, that Layla and Alex do what they do to help other entrepreneurs, is they want a guy like me to take their whole process, their blueprint of how they did this book launch, and go do the same thing so that I can get this book in the hands of other entrepreneurs. if you're to the point where you're making courses, and I'm not talking about shit courses, I'm talking about good knowledge, good education that can help people, or you're writing books or you're speaking, like, it is your responsibility and duty to send that elevator back down. That's what the Hunter Head Game is all about. It's 10 years worth of my life put into that book that I think, you can pick it up. It's written in a way that you can pick it up at any point. You can go to any page, any chapter, and there's a little subset nugget that you can read, and you don't have to have the context for the rest of the book. I wrote it that way intentionally. And I also used AI to help me edit the book. It was about 500 pages of manuscript, and we were able to whittle it down into a distilled version of about 250 pages. It's really cool passages, really cool pictures. And I think it's just time, man. It was time for this book to come out because we've gotten fucking soft, I think. As creators, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we live in this world where, the lion doesn't come into the jungle and, drag a kid away. And so I think that it's important that we get reminded that it is okay to be an apex predator. It is okay to dominate your space. And I also think that one of my favorite chapters in here is the carnivore camaraderie, because I think the law of association is very real, and the people that you're around, it's important that you audit that often, and you're making sure that the people that are in your circle want you to win. They want to play like champions with you, and they want to grow with you. And so, again, wanted to give you guys my quick 3 takeaways from the Hormozi book launch. Again, congratulations to Alex, man. It was so cool watching that thing happen and watching the book totals go up. He at one point he said that he had so much redundancy because there had been so much money. They had like backup generators, like 3 different backup internets. It was pretty wild. So with that being said, I want to invite you to grab a copy of this book. You can pre-register for the launch at thehunterheadgame.com. Put in your name, your email address, and we'll be sure to send you out an email, let you know about the launch event that we have planned coming up real soon here in the next few months. So with that being said, if you guys haven't checked it out, go get your copy of $100 million offers, $100 million leads, and now $100 million money models. And again, can't say enough congratulations to Alex and Layla and the entire team over there at acquisition.com. Until next time, here's to your success. Hustle, it's worth it.